Welcome back, everybody. We have been learning more of the details around the attack on that ICE facility in Dallas yesterday that left 1 dead and 2 wounded. Now, FBI Director Kash Patel has said that there was a high degree of pre-attack planning based on evidence found in the suspected shooter's home. So joining us now to discuss more is Department of Homeland Security Assistant Secretary Tricia McLaughlin. Tricia, thanks so much for being here.
Amanda, thank you so much for having me.
You know, unfortunately, since Charlie Kirk's assassination, we have had to have a very, very real conversation in this country about rhetoric and hyperbole. And I'm just seeing another instance of hyperbole. A Mexican-American radio host, Maria Hinojosa, who basically compared Mexican children, Latino children living in the U.S., that they live in fear like Anne Frank during the Holocaust. So if I am to understand, being deported back to your home safely, and if you choose, not even being separated from your family, that's comparable to 6 million Jews being slaughtered during the Holocaust. How do we get away from this hyperbole, and how do we message on truth and so that it gets across?
Amanda, it is so unhinged. Our ICE law enforcement are doing the Lord's work, and they're getting criminal illegal aliens out of our communities, including California. We've arrested over 600 known or suspected terrorists, about 3,000 members of Tren de Aragua, MS-13 gang members. I can't tell you about the scores of child pedophiles that we've arrested from around the country. These men and women, they're fathers and daughters and sons, and they are human beings, and they are just enforcing the rule of law, and they're saving America's children from the terror of these criminal illegal aliens on our streets. I am so disgusted by the rhetoric we've seen from the left, whether it be the media pundits or whether it be the politician you just referenced, Gavin Newsom, who just unveiled an unconstitutional law last weekend called the No Secret Police Act, obviously an allusion to the secret police of the Nazis, making Holocaust allusions. We're seeing this time and time again. And what you're doing, what they are doing, is giving a free pass to these unhinged lunatics like the individual we saw yesterday who went after our ICE law enforcement and really tried to hunt them down, spraying them with bullets, not just the facility itself, but also all of their vehicles. We're so fortunate that no law enforcement's lives were lost yesterday, but unfortunately 1 detainee life was lost, and 2 of the other detainees who were shot, unfortunately, are in critical condition, and we do continue to pray for them today.
Just awful. When you look at this episode, do you have any doubt that there are other people that help radicalize or assist this person get him to the stage where that rhetoric got them to the point of becoming a sniper?
No, I have no doubt. And I also, John, I mean, we've seen how the media has covered this, and they've given total excuses to the shooter, saying we don't know if it's politically motivated. We don't know if he actually was going after the detainees. The evidence is nearly overwhelming, John. We've seen not only the etchings on those bullet shells, but we've also seen the handwritten notes that this individual said he wanted to terrorize ICE law enforcement. This looks like it was a very premeditated attack. And unfortunately, it also looks like it was inspired by Charlie Kirk's murder, which is just so heinous and despicable. There's a lot of similarities as far as the long-range weapon, as well as the shooting from a rooftop to an adjacent building. So our thoughts and prayers are with our law enforcement today.
Yeah,
absolutely.
Copycat.
And another thing contributing to the danger is these ICE tracking apps, which I suppose legally, if that's on the same level as something like a police scanner, it is technically legal. But should it be up to stores like Apple, like the Apple App Store, to take down these apps? Leave it up to the private sector, or put pressure on the private sector to prevent this from getting out there. It's putting their lives in danger.
I think it's looking like obstruction of justice, and that's exactly what's happening. We hear this huge debate in this country about why these individuals, why our law enforcement are wearing masks. Well, it's exactly this reason. Not only are they seeing a 1,000% increase in assaults against them, but it's things like this app, that Tren de Aragua, MS-13, those known and suspected terrorists that we're targeting. They use those apps to evade our law enforcement, but also to target them. So I think that this is something that the Department of Justice is very much going to look at. We have to look at options here to keep our law enforcement safe.
Absolutely.
Yeah. In other places, you have a lot of nonprofits that's not only fomenting the rhetoric, but fomenting some of the tools that are putting these ICE agents in danger. Could you imagine the IRS also getting involved and maybe defunding some of, or at least taking away the tax exemption of some of these nonprofits that are involved in this?
I think this has to be a whole of government approach. Let's follow the money, whether it be for these ICE apps or otherwise, these riots. We've seen increasingly, whether it be Portland, Chicago, which was just happening over the weekend, or Los Angeles, we are seeing that these rioters are being bussed in. Who's paying for those buses? These are professional protesters who are on the ground. They're not from the community that they're protesting. And we need to follow that money stream and end it right now before there's more bloodshed and a law enforcement officer gets further hurt or, God forbid, killed.
Yeah.
I want to applaud you guys on a number of things, but one of those things is this $2 million figure. 2 million figure, 1.6 million who have self-deported. That is a credit to you guys, a credit to your messaging to people here in the United States who are here illegally, and then 400,000 deported. How much is that number going to grow?
Now that we have a lot more law enforcement on the ground, we have 5,000 more ICE law enforcement on the ground just in the last 2 weeks alone, which is remarkable. And we've had actually 151,000 applications to ICE. I mean, putting that in context, that's pretty inspiring considering we're pretty public about the fact our law enforcement is seeing 1,000% increase in assaults against them. This is a dangerous job, but Americans are proud and they're patriotic, and these young Americans are certainly answering the call. So we are confident we're going to get those numbers up, and I think it's going to be a cycle. The more arrests and deportations we make, the more people who are in this country illegally are really going to get that message and say, I don't want to get arrested, I don't want to get deported, so I'm going to leave now and potentially preserve the opportunity to come back to the United States the legal right way.
Yeah, a really compassionate offer that the Homeland Security made at the beginning is to put this in process, which is common sense. It really has worked. I want to keep on the line of questioning that Amanda opened up because there's another area of extraordinary credit. We chronicled 2 years ago the fact that the Biden administration lost track of tens of thousands of children who came across the border in the most vulnerable condition without their parents, at the behest of cartels often. You've been finding and locating those children, reuniting them with their families. It's an extraordinary humanitarian success story. Tell us a little bit about it and how you've gone about doing it.
Yeah, this is an issue that's incredibly close to Secretary Noem's heart. She's a mother, she's a grandmother, and she's all over this issue. So far, there's a little bit more than 13,000 children who have been located, and they're now in the safe custody of a guardian or a parent. But we have to get more. We're working with Robert Kennedy at HHS. They oversee this function. But this is partially why it's so important that we have ICE law enforcement on the ground, especially in these sanctuary cities, because these sanctuary cities become magnets for human traffickers, for child laborers, because they know that law enforcement won't mess with them. They won't go in. We just saw, I think you all might remember, about a month ago, we had an operation out in Los Angeles at a marijuana growing facility, and we located 10 children there who were involved really in slave labor. They should have been in school. They should have been with their families, and instead they're picking marijuana. It was so despicable to see the reaction from the left. They weren't praising law enforcement for these brave, heroic acts in rescuing these children. Instead, they continued to demonize them. But our ICE law enforcement, we're not going to let it deter us. We will keep going, and we will continue to find these children.
Yeah,
that's so important.
Another pretty appalling reaction was that of Governor Gavin Newsom and the state of California as a whole when an illegal immigrant who obtained a driver's license, a commercial driver's license in California, ultimately killed several people in the state of Florida when he was operating an 18-wheeler. They seemed to have, I mean, it was a very, very calloused response, hardly any sympathy at all. How can the federal government, how can DHS enforce driver's license laws in states like California who want to just issue them out like it's an ATM?
Yeah, and California is one of the biggest offenders of these commercial driver's license mishaps. Actually, I was just speaking with the Department of Transportation a couple of hours ago, and I think they have some good news on that front. I won't get ahead of them, but I will say Secretary Noem and Sean Duffy, the Secretary at Department of Transportation, have been working hand in glove. They realize that this is an issue. This was not the first incident where we saw a death or serious injury because an illegal alien had obtained a commercial driver's license. So this is something they're all over, and the Department of Transportation should have very good news for us shortly.
How about that?
It seems like anytime there's an issue, the answer is we're already on top of it. It's amazing to see that you guys are so ahead of the 8 ball on all of these issues affecting the American people. Tricia McLaughlin, Department of Homeland Security Assistant Secretary, thank you so much for spending time with us tonight.
Amanda, John, thanks for having me.
Yeah, great to have you.
Yeah. All right, everybody, we've got much more coming up after these commercial messages.
Hey folks, President Donald Trump's not just talking about economic turbulence, he's telling you how to protect yourself from it. The strategy President Trump is using for decades to safeguard his own wealth through every crisis is sitting right there in the IRS code. While everyone else panics about market crashes and dollar devaluation, those who understand the strategy, well, they sleep soundly. Many investors are saying gold should take a larger percentage of your portfolio because of the challenging political times ahead. They're not alone. Central banks bought 1,000 tons of gold last year. They see what's coming over the horizon. American Alternative Assets created a free guide showing you and I how to implement Trump's IRS strategy to protect your retirement. It's the same approach the wealthy use to preserve their fortunes when currencies collapse. Call 888-615-8047. That's 888-615-8047 right now for your free 2025 Wealth Protection Guide. One more time, that's 888-615-8047. Or you can go visit the site I created for myself called johnlikesgold.com. I do like gold, so johnlikesgold.com. Go check it out.